Hello everybody, doing good show here, and welcome to another episode of Dylan's Disney Movie Reviews. Let's talk about some films that are considered some of the best. Films like Gone with the Wind, Citizen Kane, Casablanca, All About Eve, and My Fair Lady are all considered some of the best films ever made, and most of them even won the Oscar for Best Picture. And the film that I'm reviewing today is not only considered one of the best Disney films or films in general, but also considered as Walt Disney's crowning achievement. Released on August 27th, 1964, the movie is Mary Poppins. The film opens with the camera sliding across the sky of London in 1910 as the opening credits roll. We then see a magical lady named Mary Poppins, played by Julie Andrews, sitting on a cloud and putting on makeup. After the credits, we zoom down to London, where Bert, played by Dick Van Dyke, is entertaining people outside the park and talking with a crappy Cockney accent.
Ladies and gents, comical poem, suitable for the occasion, extemporized and thought up before your very eyes. All right, here we go. Room in for everyone, gather around. The constable's responsible. Now, how does that sound? Hello, Miss Locke. I got one for you. Miss Locke likes to walk in the park with Andrew. Hello, Andrew. Mrs. Corey, a story for you. Your daughters were shorter than you, but they grew.
After the entertainment is done, Bert introduces the viewers to Admiral Boone and Mr. Binnacle, played by the late Reginald Owen and the late Don Barclay, respectively.
Time gun ready. Ready in charge, sir. 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Aye, aye, sir.
What he's famous for is punctuality. The old world takes its time from Greenwich, but Greenwich, they say, takes its time from Admiral Boone. What's here, Admiral?
Good afternoon to you, young man. Where are you bound?
Number 17. Got some parties here in tow. What wants to see it?
Enter that in the log. Aye, aye, sir. A word of advice, young man. Storm signals are up at number 17. Bit of heavy weather brewing there.
Thank you, sir. Keep an eye skinned.
Bert then takes the viewers to number 17 Cherry Tree Lane, which is where the Banks family lives. The children's most recent nanny, Katie Nana, played by the late Elsa Lanchester, is trying to leave. Suddenly, Mrs. Winifred Banks, played by the late Glenys Johns, comes home and comes a song called Sister Suffragette.
We're clearly soldiers in petticoats, dauntless crusaders for women's votes. Though we adore men individually, we agree that as a group they're rather stupid.
Mrs. Banks.
Cast off the shackles of yesterday, shoulder to shoulder into the fray. Our daughters' daughters will adore us, and they'll sing in grateful chorus. Well done, Sister Suffragette.
Be that as it may, I do not wish to offend, but
From Kensington to Billingsgate, one hears the restless cries from every corner of the land. Womankind arise! Political equality and equal rights with men. Take heart, for Mrs. Pankhurst has been clapped in irons again.
After the song, Katie tells Mrs. Banks she quits, and then when it's 6 o'clock...
Ghosts, everyone!
4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
My wages, if you please.
Mr. George Banks, played by the late David Tomlinson, then comes home and comes a song called The Life I Lead.
I feel a surge of deep satisfaction, much as a king astride his noble steed. Thank you. When I return from daily strife to hearth and wife, how pleasant is the life I lead.
Dear, it's about the children.
Yes. I run my home precisely on schedule. At 6:01, I march through my door. My slippers, sherry, and pipe are due. At 6:02, consistent is the life I lead.
After the song, Mrs. Banks tells her husband that the kids aren't there.
What? Well, of course they're here. Where else would they be?
I don't know, George.
You don't know?
Well, they're missing. Katie Nana has looked everywhere.
Very well. I'll deal with this at once.
So Mr. Banks calls the police, Constable Jones arrives, and the kids, Jane and Michael, played by caring Dotress and the late Matthew Garber respectively, come in.
Winifred, please don't be emotional.
Oh, I wouldn't be too hard on them, sir. They've had a long, weary walk today.
Children, come here at once. Well?
I'm sorry we lost Katie and Anna, Father. You see, it was windy, and the kite was too strong for us.
In a manner of speaking, sir, it was the kite that ran away, not the children.
Thank you, Constable. I think I can manage this.
Actually, it wasn't a very good kite. We made it ourselves. Perhaps if you helped us to make one.
Oh, that's the ticket, sir. Kites are skittish things. Why, only last week with me own
I'm
youngsters.
very grateful to you, Constable, for returning the children. And I'm sure that if you go to the kitchen, Cook will find you a plate of something.
Thank you, sir. I shall now return to my duties.
Thank you, Constable.
Good night, miss. Good night, ma'am. Good night, sir. Cook will find me something on it.
Ellen, played by the late Hermione Badley, then takes the kids upstairs. Later, Mr. and Mrs. Banks talk about finding another nanny.
You've engaged 6 nannies in the last 4 months, and they've all been unqualified disasters.
I quite agree.
Choosing a nanny for the children is an important and delicate task. It requires insight, balanced judgment, and an ability to read character. Under the circumstances, I think it might be apropos to take it upon myself to select the next person.
Oh, would you,
This
George?
is the way to find a proper nanny, is to go about it in a proper fashion. I shall put an advertisement in the Times.
The kids then come in and tell their parents about what they want their nanny to be like with a song called The Perfect Nanny.
If you want this choice position, have a cheery disposition.
Jane, I don't...
Rosy cheeks, no warts. That's the part I put in. Play games, all sorts. You must be kind, you must be witty, very sweet and fairly pretty.
What of all the ridiculous...
George, take us on outings, give us treats. Sing songs, bring sweets. Never be cross or cruel, never give us castor oil or glue. Love us as a son and daughter, and never smell of barley water. I put that in too.
The kids then return to the nursery. Mr. Banks tears up the paper, throws it into the fireplace, and calls the Times.
Times? George Banks here, 17 Cherry Tree Lane. I wish to place an advertisement in your column.
The next morning, a whole bunch of nannies arrive outside the Banks house. However, none of them are what Jane and Michael advertised for. Suddenly, a strong wind blows and all the nannies are blown away.
Perhaps it's a witch. Of course not. Witches have brooms.
Mary Poppins, who is just the nanny the kids advertised for, flies down to the Banks house, enters, and meets Mr. Banks.
You are the father of Jane and Michael Banks.
Well, yes, of course. You brought your references, I presume. May I see them?
Oh, I make it a point never to give references. A very old-fashioned idea to my mind.
Is that so? We'll have to see about that then, won't we?
She takes the paper that he tore up out of her purse, which makes him very confused.
This paper, where did you get it from? I thought I tore it up.
Excuse me. Item 4. You must be kind. I am kind, but extremely firm. Have you lost something?
Ah! That paper, you see. I thought that
You are George Banks, are you not?
What?
And you did advertise for a nanny, did you not?
George Banks.
Very well, then.
I tore it up, turned it over, tore it up again, threw it in there. Yes.
I beg your pardon, are you ill?
I hope not.
Now, about my wages. The reference here is very obscure.
Very obscure.
We must be very clear on that point, mustn't we?
Yes, we must indeed.
I shall require every second Tuesday off.
Every Tuesday.
She then goes upstairs and meets Jane and Michael.
Close your mouth, please, Michael. We are not a codfish. Well, don't stand there staring. Best foot forward. Spitzbot.
Mrs. Banks comes into the living room, and Mr. Banks tells her he's hired a nanny.
Well, where is she?
What? Well, yes, she's in the nursery, of course. I put her to work straight away.
How clever of you. I would have muddled the whole thing. Tell me, is she everything that we'd hoped she'd be?
Well, it all happened rather quickly.
Will she be firm? Will she give commands? Will she mold our young breed?
You know, Winifred, I think she will. I think she will.
In the nursery, Mary takes unusual things out of her purse, such as a coat rack, a mirror, a plant, and a lamp. She then takes a tape measure and measures the kids.
Just as I thought. Extremely stubborn and suspicious.
I am not.
See for yourself.
Extremely stubborn and
Suspicious. Now you, Jane. Rather inclined to giggle, doesn't put things away.
She then measures herself.
As I expected, Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way.
Mary Poppins, is that your name? It's lovely.
Thank you. I've always liked it.
She then has the kids play a game that involves cleaning up the nursery. In comes the song called A Spoonful of Sugar.
In every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. You find the fun, and snap! The job's a game. And every task you undertake becomes a piece of cake, a lark, a spree. It's very clear to see that a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, the medicine go down, medicine go down. Just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down in a most delightful way.
During the song, they clean up the nursery by snapping their fingers. However, Michael has trouble with snapping his fingers. Michael then finally manages to snap his fingers, but then a wagon pushes him into the closet.
Let me out! Let me out!
very... Thank you now. When you've quite finished... Thank you.
Once the nursery is all cleaned up, Mary and the kids go on an outing. Outside the park, Bert's drawing on the pavement.
Hello, art lovers. Today I'm a screever, and as you can see, a screever's an artist of highest degree. And it's all me own work from me own memory. Well, not Royal Academy, I suppose. Still, they're better than a finger in the eye, ain't they?
Mary and the kids then arrive, tell Bert that they're going to the park, and Bert shows the kids his drawings.
Punting on the Thames. That's always good if you like an outing. Here we go. The circus. How about a lovely circus? Lions and tigers. World-famous artistes performing death-defying feats of dexterity and skill before your very eyes.
Jane looks at one of the drawings, and she and Michael ask Mary if they can go there.
Such a lovely place. Don't you think it's lovely, Mary Poppins?
Now's the time, Mary Poppins. You know which looking.
Please, Mary Poppins, please.
So Mary, Bert, and the kids jump into the drawing, and...
Mary Poppins, you look beautiful.
Do you really think so?
Cross my heart you do. Like the day I met you.
You look fine too, Bert.
I thought you said there was a fair.
So I did. Down the road behind the hill, remember?
They run off to the fair while Mary and Bert walk along during the song Jolly Holiday.
Oh, it's a jolly holiday with Mary. Mary makes your heart so light.
You haven't changed a bit, have you?
When the day is grey and ordinary, Mary makes the sun shine bright.
Oh, honestly.
Oh, happiness is blooming all around her. The daffodils are smiling at the dove. When Mary holds your hand, you feel so grand. Your heart starts beating like a big brass band.
You are lightheaded.
It's a jolly holiday with Mary. No wonder that it's Mary that we love.
Mary and Bert then stop at a place to have some tea, and they're served by penguin waiters.
Now then, what'd be nice? We'll start with raspberry ice, and then some cakes and tea.
Order what you will, there'll be no bill. It's complimentary.
You're very kind.
Anything for you, Mary Poppins. You're our favourite person.
Right you are. It's true that Mavis and Sybil have ways that are winning, and Prudence and Gwendolyn set your heart spinning. Phoebe delightful, Maud is disarming.
Janice?
Felicia.
Lydia?
Charming, Cynthia's dashing, Vivian sweet, Stephanie smashing, Priscilla a treat.
Veronica.
Millicent. Agnes. And Jane.
Convivial company, diamond again. Dorcas and Phyllis and Glynis are sorts. I'll agree are three jolly good sports, but cream of the crop, dip of the top, it's Mary Poppins, and there we stop.
Bert then dances with the penguins. Later, Mary and Bert catch up with the kids and they ride a merry-go-round.
Very nice. Very nice indeed. If you don't want to go nowhere.
Who says we're not going anywhere? Oh, God.
Right there, Mary Poppins.
Thank you.
The horses then detach from the merry-go-round and they're off to somewhere.
They're off. It's Mary Poppins leading by 2 lengths, Jane is second by a length, Michael third, and there goes
My horse is the fastest.
Do you hear that, mate? You want to put up with that? That's a ticket? Come on, my lad. Is that the best you can do?
Hurry up, boy. Hurry up.
Not so fast, please. Michael? Now, really, Bert, you're as bad as the children.
Sorry. Whoa, boy. Whoa. Easy, boy. Whoa. Whoa.
They then find themselves in the middle of a hunt where the redcoats are after a fox, which Bert gives a lift.
Now, hang on.
Christ, would you look at that now? 'Tis an elegant merry-go-round horse. Come on and fight, you dirty armadans. I can lick the lot of yous. Faster, me beauty, faster.
They then find themselves on a race course and enter a horse race.
Oh, riders, would you be so kind as to let me pass?
Certainly, ma'am.
Thank you.
Not at all, ma'am.
Mary wins the race, and when she's asked how it feels to win, she uses a word to describe her emotion, and I bet you all know what it is.
It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious.
Because I was afraid to speak when I was just a lad. Me father gave me nails a tweak, told me I was bad. But then one day I learned a word to save me aching nose.
The biggest word you ever heard, and this is how it goes. Oh,
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
After the song, it starts raining, so Mary takes the kids home, she has them take medicine, and then she puts them into bed. But they refuse to go to sleep, so she sings them a lullaby called Stay Awake.
Stay awake, don't rest your head. Don't lie down upon your bed while the moon drifts in the skies. Stay awake.
During the song, the kids doze off. The next morning, Mr. Banks has become uncomfortable with Mary Poppins taking care of the kids because of all the fantasies.
About the behavior of this household since that woman arrived. And I want you to know that I've noticed it.
Yes, dear.
One thing more.
Yes, dear.
I suggest you have this piano repaired. When I sit down to an instrument, I like to have it in tune.
But, George, You don't play.
Madam, that is entirely beside the point.
Later, as Mary and the kids go out to buy some fish, a dog named Andrew approaches them and they follow him. They arrive at a place and Bert takes them in to see Uncle Albert, played by the late Ed Wynn.
Oh, bless me, bless my soul. It's Mary Poppins. I'm delighted to see you, Mary.
Uncle Albert, you promised.
Oh, I know, but I tried, really I did, my dear. But I so enjoy laughing, you know, and when I start, it's all up with that's what happens to me. I love to laugh. Oh, my goodness. I can't help it. You can see that. I just like laughing, that's all.
Jane, don't you dare. You'll only make him worse.
Then comes the song I Love to Laugh.
I love to laugh, loud and long and clear. I love to laugh. It's getting worse every year. The more I laugh, the more I fill with glee.
You're no help at all.
More the glee. The more I'm a merrier me. It's embarrassing. The more I'm a merrier me.
During the song, Bert and the kids start laughing and they start levitating like Albert.
Okay, make yourselves comfortable.
That's right. Pull up a chair.
Oh, pull up.
I must say you're a sight, the lot of you.
Speaking of sight, it reminds me of my brother. He's got a nice cushy job in a watch factory.
In a watch factory? What does he do?
He stands about all day and makes faces.
He makes faces in a watch factory. You made that up.
I know.
That's so good.
Such behavior. It's the most disgraceful sight I've ever seen. Oh, my name isn't Mary Poppins.
Speaking of names, I know a man with a wooden leg named Smith.
What's the name of his other leg? What's the name of his other leg?
A tea table then floats up and Mary joins them for tea.
2 lumps, Uncle Albert?
Yes, please.
Bert?
No thank you, no sugar for me.
I'm so glad you came. It wouldn't be any fun without you.
Here, you may pour some milk for Michael and yourself.
Nice weather we're having this time of year, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of weather, the other day when it was so cold, a friend of mine went to buy some long underwear. The shopkeeper said to him, "How long do you want it?" And my friend said, "Well, from about September to March."
Jane! Control yourself. Children, will you please sit up properly at the table? Your tea, Uncle Albert.
Oh, thank you, my dear. I'm having such a good time. I wish that you could all stay up here all the time.
Well, Jolly will have to. There's no way to get down.
Oh, no, there is a way.
The way to get down is to think of something sad, so Albert tells a sad story.
Yesterday, when the lady next door answered the bell, there was a man there. And the man said to the lady, "I'm terribly sorry. I just ran over your cat."
Oh, that's sad. The poor cat.
And then the man said, "I'd like to replace your cat." And the lady said, "That's all right with me, but how are you at catching mice?" Well, I start out sad. I try, really, I do, but everything ends up so hilarious. I can't help.
Suddenly, it's time for Mary and the kids to leave, so they all float down and Mary and the kids leave and Bert tells Albert a joke.
Well, it's about my granddad, see? One night he had a nightmare, he did. So scared that he chewed his pillow to bits. Bits. Next morning, I says, how do you feel, Granddad? He says, oh, not bad. A little down in the mouth. I always say there's nothing like a good joke.
No, and that was nothing like a good joke.
Later at home, Mr. Banks arrives and has a few words with Mary.
Mary Poppins, I must confess I'm extremely disappointed in you.
She's for it now. I've heard the master do this speech before.
I don't deny that I am partially responsible for allowing the children to spend their days on worthless frivolity, to the exclusion of all else. But it is high time they learn the seriousness of life.
But, George, they're only children.
Precisely. And in the light of what has happened,
George, are you certain you know what you're doing?
I believe I do, Winifred. I am disturbed to hear my children talking about popping in and out of chalk pavement pictures, consorting with racehorse persons, fox hunting. Yes, well, I don't mind that quite so much. At any rate, it's traditional. But tea parties on the ceiling? I ask you, having tea parties on the ceiling, and highly questionable outings of every other kind.
So Mary agrees that the kids should go to the bank with their father. She then goes upstairs to the nursery and shows them a snow globe with a little St. Paul's Cathedral in it, and comes the song Feed the Birds.
Early each day to the steps of St. Paul's, the little old bird woman comes. In her own special way to the people she calls, come buy my bags full of crumbs. Come feed the little birds, show them you care, and you'll be glad if you do. Their young ones are hungry, their nests are so bare. All it takes is tuppence from you.
The scene then shows an old woman, played by the late Jane Darwell, in her final film role, and she feeds the birds.
Feed the birds, that's what she cries, while overhead her birds fill the skies. All around the cathedral, the saints and apostles look down as she sells her wares. Although you can't see it, you know they are smiling each time someone shows that he cares.
The kids then go to sleep. The next day, their father takes them to the bank. On the way, they pass St. Paul's Cathedral, see the bird woman, and ask their father if they can use their tuppence to buy breadcrumbs to feed the birds. But he refuses to let them.
But Mary Poppins...
I am not interested in what Mary Poppins says, nor do I wish to keep hearing her name for the remainder of the day. Now come along.
But it's my tuppence.
Michael, I will not permit you to throw your money away. When we get to the bank, I shall show you what may be done with your tuppence, and I think you'll find it extremely interesting.
They then arrive at the bank, and Mr. Dawes Sr., also played by Dick Van Dyke, meets the kids.
That's the chairman of the bank, the elder Mr. Dawes, a giant in the world of finance.
A giant?
Father, these are Banks's children. They want to open an account.
Oh, they do they, boy? Excellent. Excellent. Well, can always use more money to put to work for the bank, can't we, boy? So, you have tuppence. May I be permitted to see it?
No, I want it to feed the birds.
Fiddlesticks, boy. Feed the birds, and what have you got? Fat birds.
Mr. Dawes Sr. then sings a song called Fiddly Fiduciary Bank.
If you invest your tuppence wisely in the bank, safe and sound, soon that tuppence safely invested in the bank will compound, and you'll achieve that sense of conquest as your affluence expands in the hands of the directors who invest as propriety demands.
The other men and Mr. Banks join in.
Tuppence prudently, thriftily, frugally invested in the, to be specific, in the Dawes, Tomes, Mousley, Grubbs, Fidelity Fiduciary Bank.
Mr. Dawes Sr. then takes Michael's money. He tries to get it back, which causes the other customers to panic and start a bank run that forces it to suspend business. Michael manages to get his money back, and he and Jane run away from the bank, and they run into Bert, who's all covered in soot from cleaning chimneys.
Bert, it's you.
In the flesh and at your service.
You're filthy.
Oh, perhaps a smudge or two. So happens that today I'm a chimney sweep.
Oh, Bert was so frightened.
No, don't take on so. Bert'll take care of you, like I was your own father. Now, who's after you?
Father is.
What?
He brought us to see his bank. I don't know what we did, but it must have been something dreadful. He sent the police after us, and the army, and everything. Michael, don't exaggerate.
Bert then tells the kids that their father loves them and that he might need their help.
Fends for himself, he does. Who does he tell about it? No one. Don't blab his troubles at home. He just pushes on at his job, uncomplaining and alone and silent.
He's not very silent. Michael, be quiet. But do you think Father really needs our help?
Well, it's not my place to say. I only observe that a father can always do with a bit of help. Come on, I'll take you home.
Then as Bert takes them home comes the Oscar-winning song Chim Chim Cheree.
Chimney, chim, chimney, chim, chim, cheree. A sweep is as lucky can be. Chim, chimney, chim, chimney, chim, chim, cheroo. Good luck, we're above when I shake hands with you. Oh, blow me a kiss. And that's lucky too. Now as the ladder of life has been strung, you might think a sweep's on the bottommost rung. Though I spends me time in the ashes and smoke, in this all wide world there's no happier bloke. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim cheree. A sweep is as lucky can be. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim cheroo. Good luck, we're above when I shake hands with.
They then arrive home, but then Mrs. Banks leaves and asks Bert to look after the kids, so he does and cleans their chimney, and the song continues.
Up where the smoke is all billowed and curled, 'tween pavement and stars, is the chimney sweep world. When there's hardly no day, nor hardly no night, there's things off in shadow and off way in light. On the rooftops of London, coo, what a sight.
The kids then wish they could go up there. Mary Poppins then comes in and they go.
Oh, that's a bit awkward, I must say.
Bert, I'll thank you to stop putting ideas in their heads. There goes the other one.
Shall I go after him?
Well, we can't have them gallivanting up there like kangaroos, can we?
Michael, don't be frightened. Everything's going to...
Will you put your things on at once? Hurry up, please. Spitspot.
Here you are. I thought you'd left us.
We didn't mean to.
Well, no, I'm done. Truth is, this is what you might call a fortuitous circumstance. Look there. A trackless jungle. Just waiting to be explored.
So now they're off to see the world on the rooftops of London.
As far as we go, right?
Not at all.
What did I tell you? There's the whole world at your feet. And who gets to see it but the birds, the stars, and the chimney sweeps?
Then on their way down, they run into Bert's fellow chimney sweeps. In comes the song Step in Time.
Step in time, step in time. Come on, mighty, step in time. Up. Kick your knees up, step in time. Kick your knees up, step in time. Never need a reason, never need a rhyme. Kick your knees up, step in time. Round the chimney. Round the chimney, step in time. Round the chimney, step in time. Never need a reason, never need a rhyme. Round the chimney, step in time. Tap like a birdie. Tap like a birdie, step in time. Tap like a birdie, step in time. Never need a reason, never need a rhyme. Tap like a birdie, in time. Up for the railing.
During the song, Admiral Boom and Mr. Binnacle shoot off fireworks. The sweeps, along with Mary, Bert, and the kids, go down the chimney of the Banks house and dance around.
Votes for women, step in time. Votes for women, step in time. Oh, no, really, not at the moment. Votes for women. Votes for women. It's the master. It's the master, step in time. It's the master.
What's all this? What's all this?
What's all this? What's all this? What's all this?
What's all this? What's all this?
Bert.
The sweeps then dance away. Mary and the kids go upstairs and Mr. Banks gets a call from the bank.
Banks here. Mr. Dawes, I'm most dreadfully sorry, sir, about what happened to the bank today. I can assure you that... Tonight, sir?
Yes, Banks. We'll expect you at 9 o'clock precisely.
Without fail.
Without fail. Well, yes, Banks. It's extremely serious.
We regret this course of action.
We regret this course of action.
After all, you have been with us a good many years.
After all, you have been with us a good many years.
As was your father before you.
As was your father before you.
Yes, Mr. Dawes. I shall be there at 9 o'clock.
So Mr. Banks gathers his strength to face his superiors. He believes that Mary Poppins tricked him into taking Jane and Michael to the bank, and then Bert talks to him.
You're a man of high position, esteemed by your peers. And when your little tykes are crying, you haven't time to dry their tears. And see them grateful little faces smiling up at you. Because their dad, he always knows just what to do.
Well, I mean, look, I don't think I...
say, Governor? You've got to grind, grind, grind at that grindstone. Though childhood slips like sand through a sieve. And all too soon they've up and grown, and then they've flown, and it's too late for you to give.
Bert then leaves. The kids come in and give their father the tuppence.
Will that make everything all right?
Thank you.
Later, Mr. Banks walks to the bank, enters the meeting room, and they talk about the Boston Tea Party.
In 1773, an official of this bank unwisely loaned a large sum of money to finance a shipment of tea to the American colonies. Do you know what happened?
Yes, I think I do. As the ship lay in Boston Harbor, a party of the colonists, dressed as Red Indians, boarded the vessel, behaved very rudely, and threw all the tea overboard. This made the tea unsuitable for drinking, even for Americans.
Precisely. The loan was defaulted. Panic ensued within these walls. There was a run on the bank.
So Mr. Banks is fired for causing the run earlier that day. He's then at a loss of words and uses the word
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
What?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Mary Poppins was right. It's extraordinary. It does make you feel better.
What are you talking about, man? There's no such word.
Oh, yes, it is a word. A perfectly good word. Actually, do you know what there's no such thing as? It turns out, with due respect, when all is said and done, that there's no such thing as you.
Impertinent, sir.
Speaking of impertinence, would you like to hear a perfectly marvelous joke? A real snapper.
Joke? Snapper?
Yes. There are these two wonderful young people, Jane and Michael, and they meet one day on the street, and Jane says to Michael, "I know a man with a wooden leg named Smith." And Michael says, "Really? What's the name of his other leg?"
After being told that joke, Mr. Dawes Sr. laughs and starts levitating. The next morning, the wind changes direction, which means that it's time for Mary Poppins to leave.
Mary Poppins, don't you love us?
And what would happen to me, may I ask, if I loved all the children I said goodbye to?
Mr. Banks returns home after being gone all night, and he's now jolly and cheerful. He then calls the kids down and shows them their kite all fixed, and comes the song, "Let's Go Fly a Kite."
Oh, let's go fly a kite up to the highest height. Let's go fly a kite and send it soaring up through the atmosphere, up where the air is clear. Oh, let's go fly a kite.
A proper kite needs a proper tail, don't you think?
The family then goes to the park to fly the kite. There, Dawes Jr., played by the late Arthur Millay, tells Mr. Banks that Dawes Sr. died laughing. He's rehired and Mary departs.
Goodbye, Mary Poppins. Don't stay away too long.
And that was Mary Poppins. What did I think of it? Well, despite what everybody else says about it being practically perfect in every way, I think it's a bit overrated. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's bad, I just don't feel the same for this movie as other people. On a budget of $4.4 to $6 million, the film made $31 million in domestic theater rentals and a total of $44 million worldwide. Then after its re-releases in 1973 and 1980, its lifetime gross became $102 million and received critical acclaim from critics. In fact, it even used to have a 100% rating on RottenTomatoes.com, but now it's gone down by 4%. I wonder if that's because of Dick Van Dyke's crappy Cockney accent. Anyways, it also got 13 Oscar nominations and won 5 of them, making this the Disney film with the most Oscar nominations and wins. The ones that it won include Best Actress for Julie Andrews, Best Film Editing, Best Music Score, Best Song for Chim Chim Cheree, and Best Visual Effects. Its other 8 nominations included Best Sound, Best Scoring of Music, Best Costume Design, Best Cinematography, Best Art Direction, Best Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture. Making this the first Disney film to ever be nominated for that and the only one in Walt's lifetime, but unfortunately lost to My Fair Lady. God, please let another Disney film be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards someday and actually win it. Anyways, now let's move on to the production of the film. The movie's based on the first novel in the Mary Poppins series, which Walt Disney's daughters, Diane and Sharon, loved, and so did Walt. In fact, he made a promise to them that he would turn it into a feature film. But when he tried to buy the film rights as early as 1938, the author P.L. Travers refused to sell them to him. You see, Walt was mainly known as a cartoon producer and didn't have much experience with making live-action films. Travers also didn't think that her book would make a great movie. For over 2 decades, Walt tried many times to get Travers to give him the film rights, and she finally did in 1961, but demanded that she would work on the film as a consultant. So when they started working on the film with screenwriters Bill Walsh and Don DeGrady and songwriters Robert and Richard Sherman, Travers basically didn't like anything that they were doing, like making Mary Poppins' character aspects harsher, using animation, and the crew using original songs instead of ones from the Edwardian period. This would later become one of the most popular fights about making a Hollywood movie that Valerie Lawson wrote it into a book called Mary Poppins Poppins she wrote, a biography of Travers, which was the basis of 2 documentaries called Travers, The Real Mary Poppins, and The Shadow of Mary Poppins, as well as a live-action Disney film in 2013 called Saving Mr. Banks, featuring Emma Thompson and Tom Hanks as P.L. Travers and Walt Disney respectively. For the casting, Haley Mills, Mary Martin, Julie Harris, Angela Lansbury, and Betty Davis were all considered for Mary Poppins. But then Julie Andrews was casted after Walt saw her in a Broadway production of Camelot. This movie would be Andrews' film debut. It was supposed to be My Fair Lady as Eliza Doolittle, but then Jack L. Warner decided that Audrey Hepburn should get the part. When Walt asked Andrews to play the part of Mary Poppins, she didn't take it at first because she was 3 months pregnant. So Walt waited for her, and then after her baby was born, she took the part. Her then husband, Tony Walton, was even hired to design the costumes. For Bert, Walt decided to cast Dick Van Dyke for the role. However, Van Dyke had trouble doing a Cockney accent. Even though it's all just for fun, it's considered as one of the worst accents in film history. Van Dyke also wanted to play the part of Mr. Dawes Sr. Walt thought he was too young at first, but then was convinced after a screen test. For the filming, the animated sequence was created by using the sodium vapor process, where the actors were added to the animation by being filmed against a white screen which was lit up with sodium vapor lights with a yellow hue. The actors had to imagine themselves in the animated world. Van Dyke even did some miming skills, and Frank Thomas was in charge of animating the penguin waiters and their dance with Van Dyke. Choreographers Max Bro and Dee Dee Wood were even brought in, suggested by Van Dyke, to help out, especially for the Step in Time scene, which was inspired by the song Knees Up Mother Brown. For the music, Robert and Richard Sherman were hired to write the songs and score, and they took inspiration from the Edwardian British Music Hall. They wrote many songs for the film, but a lot of them had to be scrapped to cut down the movie's running time. As for the song Feed the Birds, even though Walt never said it himself, the Sherman brothers knew that it was his favorite song from them, and at least once a week he would ask them to come to his office and play the song for him until his death. And now it's time for me to give my opinion on the film. In the end, while I do think Mary Poppins is a bit overrated, there are still some things that I do love about it, like the songs, including A Spoonful of Sugar, Jolly Holiday, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and Chim Chim Cheree. So with all that said, it is my duty to give this film a rating of 4 stars out of 5. Well, that's it for Mary Poppins. Be sure to join me tomorrow when I'll be reviewing the film's sequel. And if you enjoyed this video, then please tell your friends about me, leave some questions in the comments below, subscribe, and hit that like button.
Cheeky.